Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. I want to say hi, and let me just get to the right screen. Sorry about that. So I'm going to actually be starting off today on my computer. Before I do that, let me show you what else I'm looking at. Okay, so what we're going to be working on today are some cool little DIY action wobblers. I had shared these little guys on Facebook yesterday, I think, and so many people loved them that I thought it might be fun to make some. And it is, and you know me, I don't really do that many interactive cards. I'm trying, which is why you've been seeing more things like pop-ups and, you know, shakers and that sort of thing. I'm trying to get back to doing some of these and get better at it. I mean, it's real easy to do a little bit of watercoloring or something, or do a coloring of an item and just put that in the center of the card and leave it at that. But I can't believe how simple and easy this little guy is to make. Now, when you get in, go ahead and leave your name in the go ahead and just say something in the comments. Let me know that you're here. I know I am starting a little bit early, and I have to say, sorry about that, guys. That was an oops on my part. I was not planning on doing that. I was planning on doing the 5:30, and I completely forgot what time I was supposed to be doing this when I set up the video this morning. So I do apologize for that. So anyway, yesterday I made I think it was yesterday, I made 4 of these cards, and I thought they were really, really cute, and I just love this little dancer, and she is just adorable. So I thought first off I'd show you where I got that image, because it is a free digital download, and you guys can get it too. So let me go ahead and pull up my computer screen real quick. This is this month's background that I've got available over on my website. If you haven't gotten that one yet, let me know. I'll go ahead and put a link down below so you can get that if you'd like to use it as your background for your computer. I'm also using basically the same design for my phone, so each month I do both of those. And here we go. That's the one I'm looking for, this one. So this is actually a page on Facebook. The group is Kit and Clowder, and basically they have got coloring classes that are absolutely fantastic. If you look at the images up at the top of the screen, you can see some of what they do. Some of their classes are free, some of their classes are paid. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I did want to share this because I know some of you guys are new to coloring, whether it is with Copic coloring, whether it is with pencils, any other alcohol markers, whatever it is that you're doing your coloring with, this would be a great way for you to basically get started. Do want to remind you, as soon as you pop in, go ahead and say hi in the chat and let me know that you're here chatting with me. And I know this is mostly my fault because I forgot and I set this thing up a half hour earlier than I was planning on. Anyway, back to Kit and Clowder. They do have a Facebook group. Let me go ahead and get that link and put it for you in the chat real quick. So there is a link to the Kit and Clowder group, and then this post actually came out on the 5th, where they are teaming up with Digi Doodle Studios, Digi Stamps, and they're giving away free stamp. This is basically so that company has got an opportunity to, you know, kind of share with us and let us see what it is that they've got. And I'm not good at curly hair, so I thought, okay, let me go ahead and give this one a try. And of course that lets me gives me a chance to practice, especially since I can print out a ton of these. The image does come out as a PNG, and you do whatever you want to with it. This is the page over on Kit and Clowder, and like I said, it is a free stamp. They just ask that you join the Kit and Clowder page and the Digi Doodle Studios page, and then your name and email address, and then they will go ahead and send you that digital image. So for the first cards that I did, let me go ahead and get back to my desktop. So for these, I basically did the image, I sized it down to, okay, when you go into your computer to do any kind of printing, you're on your, my brain just stopped. Hi Elizabeth, you probably, you do so well, you may or may not need it, but I always need it. This one, I have taken part of a couple of their classes, you know, their intro ones, and then I never get around to finishing them. But it definitely has helped with, the last one I did was with colored pencils, and there is a rose class. Let me see if I can find that on their website real quick. Because I did one and I basically printed the thing out full size. Yes, the free rose, the couple of classes that I've taken have been freebie classes. So this is their classroom page. And they've got a lot of different classes. I've done the free floral here. Oh, I need to do that free deer and the free unicorn. I didn't realize those were still on there. Awesome, because they change things up every once in a while and do different things. But I have done the kindness is the way and the free rose. And I posted a copy of what happened with the free rose one over on my Instagram page. So I'm basically still learning. And a lot of the techniques I've been using lately have been because I've been watching too many friggin' YouTube videos. But with the deer, that one I think would be kind of cool because it's got such great highlighting. Oh, I do have to join in order to join the class, you have to sign into your account. And I do have an account on there. So anyway, that is basically where I'm getting this image. So going back to the Kitten Clowder page, they have this piece here where you can get this really nice digital image of that dancer. And then you just go over to their page and sign up, join the Digi Doodle Studios Facebook group and the Kitten Clowder. I have also noticed that Kitten Clowder has had quite a few more of them recently. So I have downloaded the little fairy house and a couple of other things to color, but I wanted to share how I made these wobblers because I'll be completely honest with you, I have never bought the Action Wobblers from any store. I've thought about it and then not done it because it's like I can make that. So I've never bought any. These are all because I watched a video a few years back and figured out how to do it, and it is so easy. You guys are going to absolutely love this. And then I've only made 3 designs of Action Wobbler cards. 2 of them, believe it or not, were for Halloween. The first one that I did was a pumpkins on a fence, so I used some Tim Holtz pumpkin stamps and had them all lined up across a wood grain background that I colored to look like a fence. And it basically was reminding me of that song from when we were a kid, 5 little pumpkins sitting on a fence. Anyway, that's what gave me the idea for that one. And then this last year I did, believe it was part of, I'm trying to think. I don't recall whether or not it was part of I think it was maybe just part of my Halloween series, but I did the Bear Witch project. I did one which was an action wobbler with the bear trying to learn to fly. Another one that was a slider, meaning he's getting up to it. And then the third card was him flying off with his friend, which was basically just a flat card. So first off, that's where I got the images. When I printed these out, I just went into the folder on my computer. And I'll go ahead and share that with you real quick too. So I went onto the folder on my computer, selected the one that I wanted to do, just went to print, and it basically treats it as if you're wanting to print pictures. And for these that I did, these somewhat larger images, I just picked the 3x5s and told it I wanted to print 4 of them. So it brings up 4 on a page. And because I was printing these out to my Tiara says, you believe it was because I love Halloween. Yes, I do. Halloween is the best time to craft because it doesn't matter if you mess up because it looks like it's supposed to look that way. Anyway, I printed these out on my laser jet, meaning I could also have, before mounting them to the card, I could have foiled these. So that would have been pretty cool too. And I have done that on a couple of other Digis. So for that set, I was doing that. Tonight, I'm doing something different. I want to be able to show you not only the Action Wobbler, but I also want to be able to, if we have time, to do a slider, which means I need smaller images than this. So I printed out a page with 9 of them. Now, one thing for any of you guys who have got a scan and cut, because the lines are so much smaller when you are scaling it down so much, my scan and cut would not see it. I could not cut them out with that. Another thing I want to recommend is when you are doing these, when you're printing them out and everything, you're printing them out on regular cardstock. I did these on accent opaque white, and right here you probably can see that I've got a little backing on there. So I went ahead and on that time I was able to get it to read it because they were colored before I tried to cut them out. I cut out a secondary layer for behind it. Today, for today's cards, I'm doing it a little bit differently. I printed out a bunch of these little ones, tried to cut it out on my scan and cut, and try out that new mat that I got from Hobby Lobby, which I tried just taping it to my mat because I didn't want to cut it yet. That does not work. And that mat is so sticky, it warped my paper when I pulled it off. So just a warning in case any of you guys were going over to Hobby Lobby to get it. I'm still not 100% sold. It's something I'm going to be able to use in my machine. I think it will still work. It may work in my stamp platform. I'm not sure because it is that sticky. Okay, so I printed out and cut out the smaller ones. These guys are a little over 3 inches tall, so it's about 3.5 inches. So these I'm going to, what I wound up doing is gluing another piece of cardstock on the back because they need to be a little more stable. Now, it's only being held on by the wobbler. So you're only having adhesive on this thing in one spot to hold it to the card. You want it to be a little bit more substantial. So those are the cards that I had made previously, and I know you guys are wanting to see how did I make the wobbler, right? Of course, I could also just show you first. Here's the little dancers that I've colored already. I went ahead and just did kind of a little rainbow of girls with some quick coloring. The smaller the image, the easier it is to do the coloring because you really don't have to pay too much attention to how well you get all of the details. So anyway, did some coloring with that. What I'm going to be using to make these with is just some jewelry wire. I do not, this says it's from Bead Landing. I know that part. I can check. I think that one it's either Joann's, Hobby Lobby, or Michael's, because those are my local stores. One of the stores, I think it's going to be Joann's or Michael's, has got this, but I don't remember what the gauge is. That part's not that important, as long as it's easy for you to be able to work with. Now this is pretty easy to bend. I can bend these with my fingers, and let me get that banner down. Okay, TR, I will get with it, honey. That's no worries. I knew that's what you were here for today. So basically, I'm just going to take it and wrap it around a pencil. And the thing is, I don't need an hour for this. I got to fill up the time with something. And just wrap it around a few times. And you can see that's a little spring on there now, right? I'm going to squish that together. So now we've got a little spring. And this wire is so thin, you don't need wire cutters to cut it. You can just cut it with your scissors. Next, I'm going to get out one of my punches. Now, for the ones that I made last, I think it was June or July during scrap orders, that's these. Okay, I made them during scrap orders and I didn't use them until now. Don't do that. For those, I used my 1/2 inch. I think this is about a 1/2 inch punch. This one is a little smaller. This one's 5/8, so you could use that just as well. And it will make it so that the area that you're able to use it on, you know, behind your image, is smaller. For these, on these cards, I cut it down. You can probably see that's a square, not a circle. I cut them down so that it would fit behind her, because the middle of her body was so small. For these, I think I'm going to probably put it up behind her head. So that's where I cut out one of them. So now all you need to do is just cut out several of those little circles. Okay, so we've got 4 of them here. Also going to take out, you can use an awl or your pokey tool. See, I've got my one for my machine. I know I've got my other one here somewhere. My Tim Holtz. So you basically need something where you can poke a hole in the end. And then I'm just going to use my mouse pad for this part because I don't really want to scratch up my mat any worse than it already is. I'm going to start off with just on lining. Basically, I'm going to take 2 of them, put them together, and put a hole roughly in the middle. Okay. And that, like, I think I cut it actually a little bit longer than what I need, so I'll just trim that a little bit off. Next, I'm going to put one end through the hole. Gonna fold it down and take a little bit of Scotch tape. And even if you get this first one, I know that the spring is a little bit off. So even if you get it off, you can still fix it afterwards. So I'm gonna first just tape that down and cut off the excess because I don't really need all of that. Okay. Next you're going to want to line up that spring like underneath it. Now I didn't wrap it enough. I wound up with too long of an end. So I'm just putting it back on my pencil so I can finish getting that spring closer to the end there. That's better. Just flatten that out on the top. Come on, spring. Oh, that's why it's on the other end. See, that's why you want to make sure you get a wire that you can work with. That's not going to be too stiff. Okay, so now we've got one side of it. So you can see we've got a little piece of cardstock there, and we've got a little spring. Next, I'm going to just push that other piece up, put it through the hole in the other piece. Try. If I can get that in there right. Nobody else drops things like me. I know it. It's just me. I'm going to try to line those 2 circles up and then fold my spring down, the extra piece of wire, and trim it off because it is going over the edge. I do have to say that working with a larger circles is easier, but again, these mini ones are going to make it easier to put behind your image if you've got a smallish image. And now I'm going to just go ahead and put some tape on that part, and again, trim off all the excess. I don't use tape very much. I'm so used to using just glue for everything that trying to work with tape is a little bit of a pain. Okay, let's see if I can get the rest off of here. Then of course I gotta clean my scissors because it's got all that adhesive on it. Okay, how big of a... Okay, TR, how big of a punch do you have? I mean, your Cricut would definitely do it fine too. And it could be able to cut out a ton of them if you're ready to just sit in front of the TV and just make some of these guys for use later. Okay, now the next thing you need to do is adhere that part over. And I'm going to be lazy, so give me just a second. I'm going to go get some cheap double-sided adhesive. The reason I can say cheap is because I accidentally bought some stuff from Amazon like 3 years ago, and it turned out that it was the heavy-duty stuff from 3M, not what I was expecting it to be. Of course, I just rearranged the stuff in my crafting area, so now I gotta remember where the heck I put that. It's not up with the plastics. So give me just a second while I find it. I know it's over here somewhere. Ah, here they are. So I've got a bunch of the scrapbook adhesive too, but these 3M ones, I really want to use them up because first off, they're too small to use for anything, and they're too... They are too sticky for me to use. They're just, eh. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and just take one of these little sheets and punch out, again, some circles that are going to fit. And like I said, a lot of this is just because I'm being lazy and impatient, and I don't want to have to sit around waiting for the adhesive to dry. Now, I'm one of those folks that I like to have everything have, I don't know, I want it to be strong enough. I want it to stay put. I don't want my cards to come apart. So I'm going to put a second layer of cardstock on the other side of where that wire is. So first I'm going to just put down this one piece of adhesive onto there. Take off the backing. While I tried not to get my hands stuck in this stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put another piece of that double-sided adhesive on here. That way, when I'm ready to use it, all I have to do is peel off the backing paper and I'm good to go. And of course I want to make sure that this is actually, yes, wanted to make sure it wasn't the backing paper. Okay. Okay. It looks like for whatever reason the chat wasn't wanting to show one of your comments, which is weird. There was nothing wrong with the comments, so I went ahead and approved that. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just put this double-sided adhesive on the back of that one. Okay. Throw away the pieces of release paper I've already used so I don't try to use them again. And then I've got to do the same thing on the other side. You are absolutely right, TR. You can absolutely make them yourself. And when it comes to the punches, I do know that Hobby Lobby tends to have punches on sale quite often. I know that Michaels has them. Michaels and Joann's both have them on sale every once in a while. The downside right now, though, is if you don't find them when they are on sale at any of those stores. I don't know about Joann's, but the other two I'm a little irritated with. Hobby Lobby has done away with their 40% off coupon, so you can't get that coupon anymore. And supposedly, they want to make sure that all of their products have got really good deals on them. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. You are too funny. You will like your Scan-A-Cut. I love mine. The downside on the Scan-A-Cut compared to the other machines, from what I can tell so far, is, and I've had mine for a few years, is just that, is this a real one? is just that the mats don't keep their stick, and I don't guess I need another one. I think I threw away one of the real ones. Anyway, the mats don't keep their stick as long as I'd like, and they are like 15 bucks a piece. That's what I don't like about my Scan and Cut. Which is why I want to try out that mat that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. If you guys saw my haul video, then you saw that. I did try it kind of sort of today. The only way I've seen so far on any videos to use that on your Scan and Cut is basically cutting your mat up. And I'm not 100% sure I want to do that yet. But just taping it down on the front doesn't work. Plus the mat is very sticky compared to what I've got on my Scan and Cut. I mean, this paper right here is very, very warped because I had it down on that pink mat. I tried taping it onto my Scan and Cut mat, to one of my older ones, and have it go through that way because you can do the half cut, and it didn't work. The machine, I think it had to do with where it was trying to measure to. When you have I've got, on my Scan and Cut, it's the SDX series, which means it's got the auto blade. The auto blade, the way that works is it measures at the area of the mat, you know, the depth on the mat, and then it goes over to wherever your paper is, and it measures again, so it knows exactly what the distance is between the mat and the top of your cardstock, so it knows how deep to cut. It was trying to cut through my mat. through my new mat, so that didn't work. Anyway, this is showing how now let me get back on topic. And now I'm done my first little Action Wobbler. I went ahead and picked out some cardstocks, rather some pattern papers that I hadn't used in a bit. And of course we need at least one card base, so I need to go ahead and make one of those. This is my Recollections 300 pound. Hopefully you guys will see better organization on my side, because I'm going through stuff. What's funny is as I'm going through things and trying to reorganize and basically change how I'm storing things, I'm finding out I got more stuff that I didn't realize I had anymore. I have found lots and lots of pattern papers that I had not, that I don't have in my scrap bin. Let's just put it that way. I've got scraps that are not where my scraps are supposed to be. So as always, the card base is from an 8.5 by 11 piece of heavyweight cardstock, cut in half, and then folded at 4 1/4 using my scoreboard to score that. And then fold it. And these are basically a bunch of pieces of pattern paper rather, that I had in just one of my, at one point I had cut a ton of paper packs down to approximately A2 size. These are ones I have never used. And I really don't know what I'm going to do with them, and they're all basically cut down to size. So I figured what I can do today is I can make a floor with one of my one of my wood grain pieces. This is a piece from Joann's from Miss Sparkle and Company, and they don't even do these anymore, I don't think. But I can do a floor with that, and then use one of these as basically the the wallpaper. Just need to pick one that I think would look cute. So we've got, and you guys can help me decide which one I want to use. It looks like I've got 4 designs here. That's too busy. That is not being used. I kind of like the blonde. I do want contrast, but I don't know that I want it to be that bad. And now I'm just reading back over some of the notes here. I have not said hi to everybody, and I do apologize for that. Let me just go back through and see who all's here. We've got Elizabeth. I've already said hello to you, and I've been chatting with Miss TR. And hi, Debbie. Thanks for dropping in. Most of this is just the rest of us chatting. So if you haven't already said hi and you're here tonight, go ahead and give me a big hello. I'm actually thinking that they don't necessarily need a floor. And right now I'm only going to be making one because I also want to go on and make a slider card if you guys are interested in that. There's a couple of different ways that I think you can do that. Well, I want to show how to make it with a die and without a die, partially because I want to use the die cutting machine, because guess what's back? I just found out, and I've already ordered 2 more mats. I've ordered one magic mat this size for my Gemini Junior because eventually it's going to wear out. I want to have an extra one, plus I can probably set up more die cutting on 2 mats. I'm also getting one of the extended ones to go in my big cake because I've got the extended plates for that. So if you haven't already gotten yours, let me get you a link. I know, I'm all over the place, guys. I do apologize for that. I think I added a link in the group earlier, but I want to go ahead and add one here too. So it's going to take me a second to grab that. Okay, so if you haven't already grabbed your magic mat yet, because I know a lot of you guys were interested in that when I first showed you guys the unboxing, that is an affiliate link, which means if you use my link. Hi, Miss Jeannie, how's the treatment going, honey? You feeling okay today? So, Jeannie, what I did, I'm going to just do a real quick recap before we start using it. I made this teeny weeny, this little tiny action wobbler using basically some beading wire, some jewelry wire, and a small hole punch. I do have another video up showing how to do this. Oh, you poor thing. I just hope you start feeling better, honey. I just hope everything works out. That's the thing. I mean, as long as the treatment fixes everything, that's what counts, right? So I made some other action wobblers last, I don't know, like June, July, something like that, when we did the Scrap Hoarder series, and there was one of the videos was on embellishments, and I think this is kind of an embellishment. So I made a bunch of them on that video, and I just went ahead and showed the guys today how to make one, and I made this little tiny one using this very small punch. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go with pink. And this is going to be real easy to adhere this one down. I'm just going to go ahead and just add that like I normally do with my dot liner adhesive and leave a white border around it. And I do see that this one, it's like most of my cardstock, it's not exactly 8.5 by 11, so I've got this 1/8 of an inch edge here. So as soon as I put this down, I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. But let me go ahead and get this centered, since I've already got the adhesive on it. And it's crooked. I always do that. Okay, let me just line it up like that. Okay, that's closer. Still has a little bit of a gap up at the top, but that's okay. Nobody else would notice but me and you guys, because you guys are the experts. Now this is my OCD coming out. I look at this and I think I can't give that to someone because it's off. And it's one of the nice things with the dot liner adhesive. You can remove the stuff. So that is, there we go. Okay, come on. The bad part of the adhesive is it sticks to your fingers, so you think you've got it on there, and then you gotta move it because it doesn't stick because your fingers are in the friggin' way. Okay, I'm gonna say that that is good enough. And then I'm gonna just add my little dancer here. Now what I did on the first ones is I put the little action wobbler behind her butt. So I could do that, or I could do it behind her head. It's got to be behind her butt. It's another reason why I wanted to make this smaller, is because I've got less space to deal with. Okay, TR says that she flattened out her Gemini plates. That's what I get from removing my little... She removed her Gemini plates in the oven, and it worked out like a charm. She told me about this before, and did you ever go back and try them in your machine to make sure that everything was still fine there? Because you guys have seen how bad some of my plates are. So I've got to take that banner down real quick. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I just took the backing paper off of one side. I'm going to position this behind her right there. Take it off on the other side. And yes, I know that I have not put any kind of a sentiment on this or anything. I figure these are basically any occasion cards for pretty much any female friend. And you can add a sentiment later. Unlike these where there wasn't any additional space, I'm going to go ahead and just put it off to the side. That way I can put my sentiment over here. Or I could put it on this side. I think I like it better on the right hand side. So I'm just going to place that down, let the adhesive grab it, and now I've got a little action wobbler. And then what I did on the other ones after I took the pictures and such is I went back and added some of my Spectrum Noir shimmer pin to the flower and to her dress, because a ballerina is going to have a glittery dress, right? Give it just a little bit of shimmer. One of the downsides of using this specific digital stamp is just that because it's so small in the center, you know, her head's so big, the body's so big, it tends to try to lean, so it doesn't want to stay straight. But I think it works out pretty good anyway. And then of course I'm going to add a couple of little gems there. On these I went ahead and gave them a little belt and gem in her hair. So you could say hello friend, you could say happy birthday, you could say you got this girl, you know, whatever you want. This would be definitely an any occasion type of card. So there's that one. Now do you guys want to see how to do the how to make an action wobbler one more time, or do you want me to move on and work on a slider card? And TR says that she did try them out in her Gemini Junior and they work awesome. Oh, I just love these little girls. She's so cute. And the worst part is I keep on wanting to play with it. I gotta get these things out of the way. I'm gonna do like Miss Jeannie said. I think she's gonna go back and watch the replay to see how to make the the wobblers, if she doesn't already know how. I mean, she is super awesome. So let's go on and work on a slider. And I'm gonna use the same, basically the same images here, okay? And at this point, I haven't decided exactly how I want it to work. This part is just to kind of give you an idea, and you can do whatever you want to with the ideas after the fact. Oh, bye, Debbie. You have a nice evening, honey. Okay, so you can either use a die, or you could just use a ruler and a craft knife to do this. Probably the easiest one is, of course, with a... Okay, these are some of the dies that I've got. So I've got, from my favorite things, I've got the spinner circle channel dies, and then from Lawn Fawn, slide on over. The easiest one, I think, to understand is the Lawn Fawn, because it's basically just a strip. So what you do is you cut a channel through your cardstock. You're going to add foam adhesive to the back so it pops up. What I use, and I don't remember if I've still got them in here, is I usually use a penny or something behind it, and you have it so that your little person can move back and forth. Okay, so that's one set. I do have another die set that I don't know where I put it. I know I've been trying to focus a lot on doing things without dies so that you can see you don't have to. You don't have to have dies for pretty much anything that you want to create. That's the bottom line. Most of the dies that are out there, what I'm discovering, the more I look at everything and more I try to do more things, is that pretty much everything that you can do with a die, you can do without a die. It's just harder. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to go ahead and just cut a channel through this one piece of cardstock, and that way our little lady can slide across. But I think I'm going to have it, this one I'm going to have about halfway up. That way I'm going to put the you also put a piece of foam adhesive behind it, a little knot to go behind, so that I just want to make sure that she's able to slide back and forth. And excuse me from all the coughing. I'm not meaning to be doing that, guys. I don't know what's been going on lately, but I have been coughing so much the last few days. Okay, for this one I am going to add some, I am going to hold it down with some washi, because I want to make sure it stays in place. To be honest, I'd say that that is the majority, the biggest reason why I don't do as much with die cutting. But having this magic mat and my Gemini Junior on my desk has definitely made it a lot easier to be able to do it. And here's another thing, with the magic mat, because those grid marks are there, I can basically line it up pretty much straight, and that helps my OCD. So I'll go ahead and run this through my Gemini Junior real quick. Okay. And next I'm going to put it on the card base. So I need to go ahead and score that real quick. Again at 4 1/4 as always, with the score mark on the outside. And because it was more than 8.5 to begin with. I need to trim off that little bit of excess. So I'm going to want it to be right about here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on this strip that we just cut out. Now the reason that I want to do that is because I don't want to see the white behind it. I want everything to line up when I get everything adhered down. So I'll go ahead and put this down. Then I can line everything up where I want it to be. I'd say that's close enough for my OCD. And then gently, gently, gently pull off the washi tape. And I'm not sure if cutting my nails shorter made it easier or harder to get some of this stuff done, but I'll get used to it again. They had just grown out so much that I was having trouble gripping anything with them, and typing was getting to be a real pain. Okay. I want to make sure that that stays straight. I'm just going to burnish it down just a little bit so you can tell where the cut is. But it's lined up perfectly so that when we put foam adhesive on the back of it, it'll be fine. Okay. So next what I need to do, it's going to be this lady. And I think because I want her to go straight, I'm going to use a couple of pieces of just some foam squares. And I'm not 100% sure if it's going to fit right in there. Okay, I think I need to trim this down just a little bit. The reason I'm going to use a couple of them is because there's enough space there. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's enough space there. Let me get... That'll be better. You'll be able to see it better this way. Okay, I think I'm going to have her positioned kind of like that. So there's enough space there that I'll be able to put a couple of them, and that way she basically stays vertical. But these foam squares are a little bit too big for that spot. And these are still a little narrow. The thing is, I don't want it to be touching the edges is what it is. Because the more it touches the edges, the harder it's going to be for it to slide. So if there's not enough room around the channel, it's not going to slide too well. But cutting these little guys in half seems to be making it right about the right size. Then, looks like I'm probably going to need 2 pennies to be able to do that, but that's okay. Actually, I may not need 2 pennies on there if I don't put anything on the others, if I don't take the adhesive off. Let's see how that works. Yeah, well, oh yes, I do need to have something on the back, otherwise she's not gonna stay in the channel. So give me just a second while I get some change. I never keep any change around. What's funny is that I did have a lot of change at my desk, and I had just cleaned everything away from my desk. Okay, so now I'm going to just take the backings off of these. And then add these little pennies to the back there. So now she'll slide back and forth. So next we just need to add some foam to the back. To the back of this panel. And we want to make sure that it's not too close to the pennies there too. Okay, that's a little bit better. Sorry about that. Looks like I was getting a little bit further off screen than I thought I was, and I do definitely not mean to do that. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, before I go any further with the adhesive, I want to make sure that it's got enough space. I'm thinking I might need to double up. Yeah, I think that this foam that I got from Arteza is about the thickness of a penny, meaning it didn't give me enough. So I'm going to go ahead and add a second layer to both of these, and then I'm just going to do my trick for doubling it up before adding the rest. And when I mentioned that to do this you could do it without a die, all you would need to do is basically take your take a craft knife and a ruler and cut out a little channel like that. And I think that's probably what they did a few years ago before the people started thinking, oh yeah, we can make a die with that. Used to be all of the dies were those steel rule dies, and they think they were much harder for folks to deal with. So we didn't really use them that much. I mean, I wasn't paper crafting at that point, but one of the companies that I worked for, you know, oh, it's been over 10 years ago. I think it's been closer to 20. We had an art department. I was working for a nonprofit that had an art department, and I know that I had to write checks for the for some of the dies that she was getting, and they were these big things. And they were expensive, which means people at home, we didn't do that kind of stuff. And I'm basically wanting to make sure that there's not, you can tell on this side, I positioned it well enough so it's not too close to the edge, so I had enough room for the foam tape there. Not sure I've got enough room on this side though. This side, it's a little bit tight, so I'm just going to trim a little bit of that off. Because I do want this to be pretty even all the way around. Okay. And again, that's just one of my OCD things. Okay, and then I need to put another piece here because of course we don't want to have any flat areas. We don't want to have any areas that are kind of saggy, I guess. That's a better word. Okay, now I can go ahead and take all of these off. Okay, this is one thing where the longer nails were definitely helping me to get the foam tape off, but you saw that that tape is almost gone. And then that means in the next couple of weeks I should be able to start using my scrapbook.com foam adhesive that's got paper, release paper, instead of plastic. And we'll see how I like that one. So what I've used the majority of the time the last few years has been the Scotch brand. Okay. So now I have to line the channel up right over, I think you guys can see it, right over where we had the paper. So I need to be able to see it on both sides. And just flatten that down. And now we have a dancer just dancing her way across the screen. So I figure putting a sentiment here and or here would be perfect for this. You just need to make sure it's flat enough back so she doesn't get caught on it. And that finishes up that little card. And of course I've got extra goodies over here that I can make me some more cards. Especially since I need to start sending out some birthday cards again for last month. So I think that pretty much finishes that up. So let's go ahead and take a look at those cards again real quick. Here are the ones that I showed you guys on Facebook yesterday. Here's the cutie that we made today. And then we've got this cute little slider. This also means that you can use any of your cutesy images. I don't know about you, but I tend to, when I stamp a bunch of things. I stamp too many, to be honest, and I either color them all up and they don't get used, or they sit in a drawer or in a box or something for me to color later, which I still have some things I stamped out 2 years ago that I still need to do. Eventually I will finish getting everything reorganized and cleaned up and used. That's my goal for this year, or one of my goals for this year. So that means that I could put this on any kind of an interactive card like this. And that's one of the fun things with the interactive cards is you don't have to worry about, I don't think it's so much, I don't know, I tend to do a lot more flat cards where I've got a design and the entire card thought out, but I need to start adapting those to making sliders and such like this. I mean, this one was super simple, but she is just so cute. So I'm going to say that that is it for today. If you guys would like to see some more interactive cards, let me know. That's kind of on my plan right now for a lot of the lives, is to start going through my die bin of all my interactive dies that I have purchased and not used, and start sharing with them and playing with them some and trying to get better at this, and while I'm doing it, teach you guys how to do it too. I'm actually pretty impressed with the way this one turned out. It turned out really good. Doubling up the adhesive definitely helped. I will be completely transparent with you guys. A lot of times when I do one of those sliders, I have to remake it about 3 times, and I haven't done a slider card since the Halloween one that I did for the Bear Witch project. Anyway, I will leave links to everything that I used down in the description, as well as a link to where you can pick up that mat from the magic mat from scrapbook.com now that it's finally back. Yay! And I will talk to you guys soon. If you need anything, let me know. You guys have got my email and know how to get a hold of me over on Facebook. So talk to you guys soon. You have a wonderful day.